Hello, beautiful people. Carl and Damon here from Games, Brains, and Headbanging Life, gbhblofficial for short, and a little later than expected, mainly because I forgot about it. I actually forgot about this, and it was you prompting me to talk about a specific game that you wanted to talk about that kind of got covered. Let's say, arguably, the end of February, beginning of March, but I think we can put it in here nonetheless. You prompted me to kind of go, oh, yeah, we were supposed to do this video, our best and worst of February, our usual games we played in the month of February, the best, the worst, and often achievements only. And the reason why I think I forgot about it was because aside from being this one major game that we're going to talk about at the end, I didn't play that many games in February. I mainly stuck to the rule that I talked about in the January video, which was complete as many games as possible or finish or tidy up as many games as possible before Resident Evil Requiem was released at the end of February. Now, the problem with that, what ended up happening for me, was I got stuck on one game that took me around 50 hours to complete. So it pretty much dominated my February, and that is the game I'm going to talk about. But first, I'm just going to throw out, there were a couple of, for me, a couple of easy games that had achievements added as per usual. So Super Astro Cat had another 1,000 gamer score. That's now up to 4,000 if you're following along. Yeah, I know. And worse, Green Soldiers Heroes Extreme Bikers added an additional 1,000 gamer score. I almost cried when I saw this. And I loaded it up and I was like, please, please, please unlock immediately. Please, please, please don't make me have to play the levels again. And it was like, no, I had to play 5 levels again. Like in those 5 levels, it had this extra achievement summed up the game, what I said at the time, why it's terrible, which was, I think 3 out of 5 of them were so easy, I finished with like a minute spare. And then the other 2 were like so close that like I had a second to spare, and I had to replay one over and over again because it was too hard to do. Fucking hate that game. After we talked about it in January, I decided to go and start Yuka Replayly, which is the remake version of Yuka or the Ukulele or the re-release. So I've started that as well. I finished up Spray Paint Simulator. My wife had started that and she hated it, so I went and finished it for her. And the only other game aside from the 2 there's a couple more. So these were the achievement only ones, but now I'm going to switch to the best and the worst. So basically I have 2 games that fall into the best before we get to the worst, and then the big one at the end, which I guess we can agree on where it goes. So the best, Slipstream. Don't be put off by this game, folks. I know, right, you look at anything, okay, it's an arcade racer, kind of old school visuals, synth color, looks like the kind of game you're playing in the arcade, like Outrun or something like that. Yes, but my God, is this a brilliant version of it. Fun achievements, very completable, fun to play, great music, great level design, really, really cool game. Thoroughly recommend Slipstream if you're eyeing it up. That's in the best. The Stairwell. I broke my rule and I did end up buying something new, because I just needed a break. After I finished the game that's going to be in the worst, I needed something to kind of clean the taste out of my mouth. So I bought one of the a new, the Anomaly games. I've talked about it before. I basically bought a new one of that called a Stairwell. And I like the idea of this because it's like, oh, you're going up a stairs now, and then you've got to spot the differences between what's on the floors. And I thought that's a uniquely cool idea. I loved it. I really did. It's not the best one I've ever played, but it was good. It was interesting. It was fun. And I really liked the challenges of the harder difficulties and how I ended up becoming almost too good at it. Like, I love the fact that at first I just don't have a fucking clue. And you're looking for obvious things. And then by the end, I'm like, that's different. That's different. That's different. I dig it really. I really enjoyed the Stairwell. Massive props to that. This one, before I move on to my worst, this one, High in Life 2. I've started High in Life 2. I said I was going to, but I started it a few days before Resident Evil Requiem dropped. So I ended up not putting a lot of time into it. So I think I'll probably talk about that more at the end of March, when it comes to March as one.
Is that the game though? Because I saw it in Game Pass. It looks like sort of like Jet Set Radio with like spray painting sort of thing. Is that
Yeah. I mean, if you base it on the
yeah.
cover, so it's the sequel to High on Life. In this sequel,
Mm.
they've added a skateboard. It's not like Jet Set Radio. It's a first-person alien shooter, but a comedy. It's from the people who make. It's from the companies that make Rick and Morty.
Okay, yeah,
Launch games. So yeah, I mean, play High on Life 1 before you play High on Life 2. Like you really need to understand the story. So,
yeah.
but yeah, it's too early for me to judge it. So I'm going to come back to that. Right, I've got one and the best. We're going to talk about it at the end, and perhaps then we can express our opinions in a certain way. But I've got one and the worst. You said you had two games. Do you want to do the other one? Not Requiem, the other one.
Yeah, yeah. So the other one. So like you, I didn't want to start anything major. I wanted to finish games, but I got stuck, and I'm still stuck on this fucking game. Which now, it's not in the best and it's not in the worst. For me, it's in the middle. It's 50-50. And I think I spoke about this before. But so it's Final Fantasy 13. Okay,
Right.
and I am 113
Yeah.
hours into that bloody game. I only need 4 or 5 more achievements, but the achievement I'm working on is so goddamn grindy. And
Right.
it's literally, I've been doing it for about 30 hours, just sticking the game on for 2 hours, doing the same thing, going backwards and forwards, killing the same enemies 4 times, just to get the items to sell them because for whatever reason they decided to. Oh, you can't get gil. You've got to sell items. It's the only way you can get money. Defeating enemies, you don't get gil. And I
Hmm.
need like 12 million to buy a specific bloody item to upgrade my weapons for the treasure hunter achievement. And it's just doing my head in. But I said,
Hmm.
so thankfully, I'm very close to doing it. So I enjoy the game. It's a Final Fantasy game. It's an okay story. I like the gameplay. I like the characters. But I don't like
You
these
don't like the
grinding achievements.
achievements.
Yeah, exactly. So for me, I'll stick it bang in the middle.
Yeah, that's fair. Like, yeah, achievements are bad. Game's good. Achievements are bad.
There was one of a game that I haven't started yet, and I'm debating whether or not. Do you remember a couple of weeks ago we spoke about Hogwarts Legacy,
Yeah.
and you said that you wasn't too sure about you playing it because obviously the issues with J.K. Rowling and that sort of thing.
Yeah, but that's a personal thing. That's
Yeah,
specifically down to me,
yeah,
and
yeah.
I'm not changing anything by like I'm not changing the world. It's a it's just a personal stance. That's all. I don't judge anybody for playing it.
Yeah. So obviously, I've had a sort of a moment too. Okay, so obviously they've released a new version of obviously Yakuza 3, yeah,
Hmm.
Yakuza Kiwami 3 and Dark Tides. Now I kept hearing things about a big scandal about this game. So for
Right.
what so I decided to Google it. So apparently one of the voice actors who are hired was was served like 4 or 5 years in jail for sexual assault and rape, and the director still
Really?
hired him. Yeah. Said he admitted it in 2012 or something like that.
God, I'm reading.
Uh,
I've just looked at it immediately.
yeah, and it's quite shocking that the fact that you would hire a voice actor to do that. So it's kind of made me like, do I really want to play this game anymore now?
Hmm.
Yeah, it's been a big scandal, as
I'm gonna have to read up on this. Yeah, that's incredibly disappointing, isn't it? Like, there's no
well, yeah,
what on earth.
and he's voicing quite a big character for me in the game.
Hmm.
He's not the main character. Thankfully, he's not playing the main character you control, but he is like a top character in the game.
The director of Yakuza 3 Kiwami plus Dark Ties has broken his silence on Gotoko Studios' controversial hiring of Teruki Kagawa to play Goa Hamazaki, saying they needed someone who could make the audience think this guy's a creep. That is a shockingly bad answer.
No,
That is a
exactly.
shockingly bad answer. Damn man, I don't know. After that I was gonna kind of like follow on with a joke, but now you're right. I mean, like the game exists. It's been made. Like, do you know what I mean?
Of course.
Yeah. Like, mm, is it
It's, it's,
is it
it's,
fair to punish an incredible development team because of like some poor? You know, what I mean, I don't know. Yeah, you make your own decisions. Not for me to decide.
yeah, of course, exactly. Yeah.
But you know what? You can decide on doing. not playing Tales of the Shire, the Lord of the Rings game. That's such a mouthful, isn't it?
Yeah.
Tales of the Shire, the Lord of the Rings game. Not a Lord of the Rings game, because it's the Lord of the Rings,
Mm.
TM trademarked. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's so fucking wordy. But listen, I know you won't listen to me. Because this is a fucking Lords of the Ring game, Lord of the Rings game, get my fucking words out. That is like, oh, Harvest Moon slash Animal Crossing. Like, it sounds wonderful. And no matter how much I tell you now, don't play it, you will regret it. Because within 10 hours, you'll be bored fucking shitless and stop playing it for another 30 to 40 hours. Now, maybe my 50 hours was too long in the end. Maybe had I planned ahead, there were things I could. So for the last 10 hours, I probably could have planned enough ahead to realize that I needed a specific ingredient, bell peppers, that only grew in a specific season. But because by the time I realized I needed them, I didn't have any left and I could not grow them out of season. They
Yeah.
weren't even on sale. Meant I just had to basically wait days. Maybe I could have looked at achievements and planned my can eat. But no, there's only so much you can do. You've got to listen, folks. The story's crap. The world is small. It's initially intriguing and exciting to go around and fish and garden and all of that and open up your hobbit hole and all that. And maybe you can get more fun out of decorating than I did. But considering there's no achievements attached to decorating, it quickly became quite boring. And the
You want
hobbit house
to,
is too big. It was just too big for me to constantly want to do stuff in it. And then all I'm doing is basically every day getting up, inviting people to a meal, trying to cook them their perfect meal so that their friendship, love, affection will grow, and then going and doing some fishing. Eventually, there's achievements related to every single part of it. And they're all grinds. All of them are fucking grinds. And oh, you've got to become best friends with all the hobbits. And the only way you can do that is by doing the same thing over and over again, which is
yeah.
inviting them to a meal. Oh no, I didn't invite a certain hobbit for a meal after a few days. Now he's not happy with me. And that means I can no longer invite him to a meal until he gets over it, which he will in a couple of days anyway. Fucking hell. Honestly, I think this game, I think by the end, I would have, had this been 20, 30 hours, I'd have been like, you know what, that sucked. That was disappointing, and that was the end of it. But because by hour 50, I hated it. This is terrible. It doesn't look good. It's got horrible lag issues, really, really bad lag issues, boring achievements, gameplay. It's not fucking fun. And you know what? It's not relaxing by the end because it's just so fucking bad. I know you'll end up. I know when it appears like that, you see it for like a fiver, you'll be like, ah, fuck it, I'm gonna get it. You'll regret it.
Probably will do. Yeah. But so I've got too many big games to play at the moment, so it'll be in a backlog.
Well, just don't do it. So that's the one that basically dominated February. Until of course I said it was going to happen. I wasn't going to buy anything new until Resident Evil Requiem, and I did actually briefly debate about not buying it straight away. Wait, that kind of thing. But actually, I ended up being like a child. I stayed up to midnight. I had it pre-downloaded. The moment it went to 0000, I pressed A, and then it came up saying, "Oh, you're too early." I'm like, "You fuckers! It says midnight." But then a second later, it worked fine. And yeah, that night I spent about 2.5 hours in the game, and basically over a period of, well, my first playthrough came in at around 10 hours. What was yours?
Mine was, I think it was between 10 and 11 hours. It was because I was very because I might, yeah, go on.
Oh, no, I agree. I was about to just
Oh,
simply say, yeah, like
no,
that
no,
seems to be the average.
yeah, I mean, on my first playthrough, I got all the documents because I am very I searched every single room, every little thing because it's your first playthrough. I wanted to enjoy the experience of especially being in obviously Raccoon City too. So
Yeah, I mean, no, I was exactly the same. I missed one document in I almost keep calling it the Hive, but the Ark. But let's be honest,
yeah,
the fucking Hive, mate.
it's the hard
You
bit,
know what I
yeah.
mean? But yeah, like, the Ark, I missed one in there, but I was very thorough as well. I spent probably longer in certain sections than needed, and I'm in my second playthrough now, and I'm being a little bit more like fast paced kind of thing, like
Yeah.
finding, because of course there are achievements related to completing it in like 4 hours. So when you do 10 hours, you're like, 4 hours? How the fuck do you do that? And then you kind of realize, yeah, you unlock better weapons, and that means you ain't got to sneak around as much. You just go around
Yeah,
blasting shit.
once you unlock like the infinite rocket launcher, you're fine.
Oh yeah, but
So
I think even right now, the only weapons I've got my second playthrough extra is that I've got. I end up spending my CP on a knife that wouldn't break for Grace, and I think an axe that wouldn't break for Leon, because I found that I was using them a lot, and that's saving me a ton of money, a ton of ammo, because I'm able to
uh,
use the knife to really take down a lot of zombies as Grace.
yeah, I done the mistake first because obviously I unlocked all the movie concept and the art and the models. So I did all that obviously for the achievements, and then I bought the rocket launcher, which obviously you can buy. Obviously, when you kill enemies, you get the CP and the credits for it. So I can buy a rocket launcher every single time for the bosses. So, but
No, fair enough. But yeah, I mean that's been the major game been being played. So I mean, we're gonna give you a bit more detail, I guess, what we think here, because it is in the best. There's no question. It's no question at all. And I think it is a brilliant Resident Evil game. But I don't necessarily think it's as good as other people are saying. Now, I do have a few reasons as to why that is, and it mostly comes down to personal things more than anything else. But I think, well, if you'd stop me halfway through the game, actually, let's say you'd stop me right about when you escape the care center and you're at the helicopter bit. So pre when Leon gets a sniper rifle and then that's in the church.
yep.
Um, Pre that bit, I'd have probably said this was the best Resident Evil game I'd played. But then the second half, to me, just knocks it down a little bit. So let me explain my feelings on it, and then you can explain yours and see where we land on this one. So I would sum up Resident Evil Requiem as a combination of everything Resident Evil in the last 9 years. So 9 years ago, roughly, they released Resident Evil Biohazard, which of course is Resident Evil 7. Now this helps. All this helps because you now played Requiem, you've played Village and Resident Evil 7, so all of that. So basically, what they've done is they've taken a Resident Evil engine and the best of what they've done. They've looked at Biohazard, Resident Evil 7, should I say Resident Evil 7, Resident Evil Village, the Resident Evil remakes of 2, 3, and 4, and put it all into one game and basically then sprinkle a shit ton of nostalgia over it. But that's not to say there aren't new ideas. Some of the new ideas in this are generally brilliant and should probably be coming forward in future games, I suspect. However, that has meant there's certainly a point where I realized this isn't that fresh, and there's certainly repeating ideas here. And some of it I realized quite obviously repeating ideas, particularly when we kind of get into the Raccoon City part of things, and it was like, oh, okay, we're just doing this, and it felt a bit like they've looked at all the stuff from the Resident Evil series up to date and thought, well, how can we put this in this? How can we make this the quintessential modern Resident Evil game? Where for the first time in a long time, I don't think you could play this game knowing nothing about the series. Like, there's an argument you could say you could play a lot of Resident Evil games and enjoy them as standalone games. I think you would struggle to enjoy a lot of Requiem without really having played any other Resident Evil, particularly when we do it when the second half of the game starts,
Yeah.
because that is completely there for people who have been there from the beginning. And there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with that. I think in this context, the nostalgia overload is acceptable to a point. So, I think Resident Evil Requiem is at its absolute best every time it puts you in control of Grace. So, the beginning of the game in the hotel was fucking brilliant. Probably the scariest since first entering the house as Ethan in Resident Evil 7. That shit was spectacular. Well, I'm like, it was dark. I felt uncomfortable. It felt like a horror game. I had no idea what was going on. Super cool.
Do you not think though? And a few people have said this when I was reading the reviews about it. Do you not think that they made a bit of a mistake with Ethan though? Because with Grace, for me personally, they nailed it on because you got her anxiety, you felt her fear. With Ethan, the geezer just walks in the house and he's like, "Oh yeah, everything's fine, everything's fine." But you could feel her holding a gun, she's
But
shaking.
they're
The
different
recoil.
characters, so I'm fine with that.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
not going
yeah.
to retcon Ethan. I love Ethan. So,
Oh yeah,
and
yeah, so
like,
do I.
do you know what I mean? Like, I'm not retconning now. It's a different character. And I've seen also people be negative about Grace as well. Whereas I personally found Grace to be a fabulous character who
Mhm.
offered something unique in the fucking world. Like a unique character. And you know what? Oh my God, should we do it? Right. Massive spoilers are coming right now. So if you don't want to hear me say what I particularly love about Grace, stop now. All right, I'm going to pause. I'm going to count down. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I fucking loved that there was nothing special about Grace in the end. That Grace was simply an ordinary person and no one knew it. But because we, as well, all the way, right near the end, I started to wonder, wait, is her thing that she's not special at all? And we're all just so conditioned to be like, yep, here's a character, presume it's in her blood, and her blood makes her special, and she has an
Yep.
antiviral in her blood or whatever, or she's the daughter of fucking Wesker and Ada in some random way. Do you know what I mean? Like, we're so conditioned. And then it was just like, no, she's nobody. She's just a kid that Spencer gave to some interviewer once upon a time, that Spencer has felt guilty about things and thought, you know what? Here's just a normal kid and I wanted to grow up not. Do you know what I mean? And that's it. And I was
Yep.
like, that's brilliant. That actually is brilliant. And basically, I'll tell you now, I think it's a one and done for Grace. And I'm fine with that. Like, I'm totally fucking fine with that. Like, sometimes the one and dones work out. Do you you know what I mean? Like, sometimes it's totally fucking fine for it to be a one and done. I've seen some dumb things that people who have been like, oh, Grace should have been Ashley, or why is like, Leon should be married to Huntington, and oh, Leon and Ashley are married now, and Leon and Ada are married, because you see that scene at the end where he takes his gloves off and you don't see him from the front, but basically I've seen it established that he's putting his wedding ring back on.
Yes.
Like, it's like, calm down, people. Like, stop just doing these really weird things.
Yeah, I've heard loads. It's Ada he's married to. It's Claire.
Yeah.
Resident Evil 10 is going to be Leon and Claire's super babies fighting the zombies next. And I mean, potentially, I don't think this is, but potentially this could be the last of Leon. Potentially, I doubt it. I
Right.
doubt it
Well,
because because
we'll get onto the ending in a bit, where
yeah.
I was probably most disappointed about this game than any other
Mm.
part. But basically, yeah. So like Grace Hotel, the capture, the care center, the fucking zombies. I have never been so scared of zombies since, like, honestly, that it is survival horror. Not enough
Yep.
fucking ammunition. Trying to run past them is terrifying in itself.
Yep.
Everything about that section was fucking brilliant.
No,
The
I said
blind
they.
the villain who can't stand light. Although it's a repeat of other elements and monsters, I liked it. I thought it was cool. The sections where you meet sort of super zombies, the big hulking chef, the fat guy walking in the hall. I thought all of this shit was basically all the care center stuff I loved. Enough so that when I switched to Leon in the care center, I was excited by the idea of having a bit more ammo. Now, thankfully, Leon in the care center it massively improved because initially Leon in the street, I hated. I thought,
Mm.
oh my god, this is Resident Evil 6. Like, it felt clunky, it felt
Yeah.
confused. I got hit by a car. And I was like, and he got no, but he just gets back up, and I'm like, oh, that's pretty dumb. Like, I
Mm.
didn't really like it, and thankfully it's over quite short and all of that. But like Leon and basically all the care center stuff, including I'll add it in there where we go into the basement section with
Mhm.
fucking with Grace is brilliant as well. Again, great survival horror with a mix of Resident Evil 4 thrown in there for that stuff. All great stuff. I like that Leon's boss battle was quite cool as well. All the care center stuff, all the way out to the helicopter, had me fucking over the moon. Thoroughly enjoyed.
Yeah, I mean, said all the points that you mentioned about just the scary like on edge points. For me, it was the fucking singing, the singing zombies had me on
Oh, the
edge, man.
singing,
Oh my
the
God,
dancing lady.
it's
Yeah.
so freaky it was, and but yeah, but I mean, but then I also loved the orphanage. But when you're controlling Ashley as the little girl for the orphanage.
Right, you're getting ahead of yourself again, way too far ahead. Way too. I want to do this step by step by
Oh,
step.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, so like, I want to also give a props out if we're talking about specific zombies. The keep the noise down zombie,
yeah.
motherfucker, slammed me so hard in the back when I wasn't expecting it. I legitimately jumped out of my chair, and it was a long time since a Resident Evil game did that to me. Also, that guy randomly gave me an achievement where I was like, I think I disturbed him, and I think he killed me. I redid it. And then I disturbed him without realizing, and I got an achievement for another zombie attacking another zombie. I think
Oh yeah.
I'd made noise. He'd come out to check, and then attacked another zombie for making the noise.
I
Um,
got I got the blind one where I threw a glass at one of the other zombies, and the blind one just whacked him with his stick. Oh, he's
cool.
no, IV think whatever it's called.
Yep, yep. Cool, cool, cool. What else about that section? I'm trying to think. I had something in my head that I really, really liked. It felt very Resident Evil. Felt very Resident Evil 7, didn't it? The
Yeah.
puzzles, the keys, the collecting stuff, it all felt very much like that. And admittedly, I knew there'd be something, but I hadn't paid attention to the blister head aspects. So when this first happened, I was like, oh shit, they're doing Crimson Head zombies. And then I tried killing it. And I put so much ammo into it that I ended up restarting an old save. I was like, I can't put that much ammo into one zombie. And then I ended up reading up about it and was like, oh my God, right. So this is how these things. I probably spent more time avoiding these fuckers until I was Leon. Once I was Leon, I'm like flipping off walls.
Yeah.
Yeah, access to things. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, like that shit was really, really great. What did you make of though, what's his name? The initial early. Oh, what's his name?
Big
Victor.
ticket in.
Victor.
Big ticket in.
Victor Gideon.
So I think I love his look. His look it looks brilliant. I mean, I'm not so sure about I don't know, the mask with like all the I don't know what they are like for the
Zooming things,
uh,
enhance.
opticians eye
Yeah,
test
like
stuff with him.
like yeah, like like
Yeah.
telescopes and stuff like that. Yeah.
I mean, as a bad guy or a villain, yeah, he's okay. He's okay.
He's okay. That's it. That's the
Yeah.
best to go. I was really intrigued, and then I was like, "Oh, you're just like you're." I realized quickly at a certain point, you're not actually. You're not really it. You're kind of just like you're just like an umbrella researcher kind of thing. Don't get me wrong. Again, that was a cool touch. Do you know what I mean? What was your early thoughts when they revealed that Leon and well, basically the Umbrella Curse, that Leon and Sherry were infected?
Yeah, obviously, at first I thought the girl he was talking to was Ada. That's what I thought it was first because it made more
Really?
sense. Yeah, because it made more sense to me because I wouldn't think it'd be Sherry. I thought Sherry might have been with Claire maybe at some point, but then
Mm.
obviously when I found out it was Sherry, obviously that was a pretty cool thing for me. But the infection, I suppose, no, it kind of makes sense. After all the amount of crap he's been through, so I kind of get he's infected or at some point, or what?
Well,
But
I gather they're all infected. Anybody that had any dealings in Raccoon City has this
yeah,
long-term dormant virus that's now awakening. Victor was obviously infected with it. Obviously, others were infected too. The whatever his name is, the Wesker clone, which confused the fuck out of me at first because I was like, that looks like Wesker, but that's clearly not Wesker. And then when Leon's shooting him and he's doing that boom, boom, and I was like, I was so confused. And to be honest, the game's ending does not clear that up very well either. Which
yeah,
was one of the more
Zeno, I think.
disappointing angles. Zeno, yeah, Zeno.
Yeah,
So I ended up reading up online that he's basically a Wesker clone, an
mm.
inferior Wesker clone. And I'm like, okay, cool, good. Thank you for not bringing Wesker back. Please don't bring Wesker back.
No,
But like,
he's
like,
dead.
like that volcano Resident Evil. Like, come on, people. Do you know what I mean? But I will remind people that like Capcom is, by remaking all these earlier games, they are retconning certain aspects. If they ever do 5, they will retcon certain things, and they could very easily retcon Wesker as well.
Yes, yeah. Well, for me, they would. I presume they would change that ending a bit.
I presume
So,
they'd change something to make it ambiguous.
mm,
But anyway, regardless, yeah. So care center stuff, fantastic. Got out to the garden. Helicopter bit was great. I actually liked how that looked, and I liked the fact there was a couple of extra puzzles, and we see a little bit more of like the kind of traditional Umbrella laboratories hidden in random places stuff. Generally
yeah.
enjoyed it. But then we
Poor,
take
poor
control
Harry.
of. Yeah. Well, let's not be. To be fair, though, I was also like, can you not be so suspicious, bro? Like,
Yeah,
stop
true.
acting suspicious, right? Oh, actually, saying that though, right? The early part when you meet the girl, what's the girl's name?
Emily.
Emily. I
Yeah.
was a little bit annoyed that Grace at no point went, "You really look like me," right? You know,
Yeah.
or put two and two together that the big hulking monster creature is clearly the other girl, the missing girl. Like she had
Yes.
obviously mutated because like you look at her hair and it's like it's clearly the dress she's wearing a dress that's over, clearly she had mutated. And
Yep.
although it's not really talked about, clearly her mutation is very similar to what happened to Lisa Trevor.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's what I thought. Although I like the creature was
Cool.
scary and brilliant, but it was definitely another bigger version of Lisa Trevor.
Yeah. Just near the end when before you defeat her, the let's play thing she says made me, you're a kid. You're a kid.
Yeah.
And it
Yeah.
is quite with all the references to other Resident Evils, it's quite funny that what destroys her is opening the roof of something to let light in, which for
Yep.
all you Resident Evil nerds is very similar how you defeat a certain other creature in a Resident Evil game called Resident Evil Zero and the
Mhm.
Leech Queen. So that may be me overthinking, but considering how many hints there are throughout the game, I suspect it probably is a
Yeah.
reference to that.
Yep.
So yeah, we're Leon, right? And we're running along roofs, sniping things. This is where I thought I wasn't enjoying the action as much as I was enjoying Grace's part. Initially I liked the jumping back and forth, but then it became clear to me that I was like, oh man, we're gonna stay with Leon now, particularly when it became about Raccoon City. So
Mhm.
let's talk about Raccoon City because effectively it's split into two sections. East and center. East is where you'll spend the majority of your time trying to get through one fucking door. I swear, I'm surprised Grace wasn't already infected and dead by long. Like, it took me like 3 hours alone to go around to find a key to do this and do that. But I did enjoy a lot of it. I realized quickly it wasn't that interesting after a while. Initially, I was like, wow, look at the skyline, whoa, and all that. And then I was like, not really. And it's
Yep.
like, and there's some clever ideas and like there's some spooky parts. The flooded garage was quite a very good part to do. But then I
Yep.
really didn't like the climbing the building part with, the glass floors and all that. It's a bit different, but I was like,
Yeah.
oh, this feels again, it felt a bit like Resident Evil 6.
Yes, yeah. I agree. So I spent too much time like stopping and looking at, just looking at it, see how I looked at because obviously I was enjoying the view. But again, yeah. I mean, there's a few bits, and obviously I don't want to go too far ahead, but obviously like the next part was obviously which the BSAA or whatever it is.
Yep.
That this whole section here did my head in. The amount of work you got to do just to get 3 detonators is like was way too much, and it wasn't enjoyable.
Well, I'm glad you brought them up. So while I was initially excited by the BSAA thing, I did kind of remember I was like, well, it's not really Chris's unit anymore. They become a bit of an issue in themselves. And then he introduced the ones that hold machine guns, and those basically, I reckon I had more deaths in this game via the idiots with machine guns than I did any other. Like they would spray you with bullets, and in some cases, pretty much kill you on one hit.
Yep.
That's bad, man. That can't be happening.
I don't want firing a bloody mortars at you.
That part was fucking awful as well. Yeah, I
Hmm.
didn't like a lot of this section, if I'm honest. I liked, like I said, once the novelty wore off, I was like, oh, okay. I just kind of want to get to, Raccoon City now. Like, the center and the police station and all that, because we all knew it was coming. You know.
Hmm.
So, what do you make of the motorbike section?
Okay, so when we done our Resident Evil 7 and obviously Resident Evil Village talk, I talked about a few criticisms and stupid parts, which every Resident Evil has it. So this
Yeah,
is this is my stupid part in this game here. Okay, so obviously Resident Evil 7, you're fighting Megatron and stuff like and obviously Village, you fight werewolves and whatever. This one here, you're driving a motorcycle, chasing Victor Gideon while you're being chased by werewolves or whatever the hell they are, and then the geezer's firing fucking a rocket launcher at you. Which is, I mean, I'm just so glad that that the player didn't have to control the bike. The bike controlled itself. All you're doing is shooting, because that would be bloody so difficult. That would be to try and do
mm.
both. So, but yeah, it's a typical stupid Resident Evil moment,
Section.
but yeah, section. But I still quite enjoyed it though.
I'm going to go easy on it because it was so short that it didn't overstay its welcome. It kind of reminded me of parts of Resident Evil 5. But then Resident Evil 5, a lot of those bike bits go on far too long. This felt quite short. Mutated dogs is a very Resident Evil thing. What made it stupid for me was this Victor Gideon, this big hulking beast man who's been really kind of softly spoken and like kind of threatening, choking people, is now like on a motorbike with a rocket launcher. It looks so dumb. And I was just like, oh, okay. And then it's like, oh, he's dead. And I'm like, shut the fuck up, is he dead?
I know.
Like, do you know what I mean? Mate, Leon, check the body, you know?
Yeah.
That brings us to the police station, and this is all about nostalgia, really, more than anything else. And I think it's done pretty well as well. And that its length inside the police station can be dictated by you, really. You can spend longer in there, kind of just looking and finding little things and hints. And there's even a puzzle or two in there that are extra for you if you want to unlock a briefcase that Barry decided to make a fucking test. Cheers, Barry, dick.
Yeah.
Also,
Hiding a.
the sexy photo of Rebecca in it. He's hiding the
I was
sexy
just about to say,
photo of
I was
Rebecca.
it's like, come on, Barry, man. She was
Yeah,
like 18. It was just like 18 or so.
like,
Or was she?
like she's a
Or
fucking
16?
kid, right? Little,
I know.
yeah. I thought that was quite funny.
Yeah.
Did you get startled by Tofu?
What was that?
Did you not see there's a lot of Easter eggs in there, and one of the more known ones did you not see Tofu?
Oh, well, hang on. Was that like the creature running past the window?
Yeah, the block of tofu.
Okay. I saw something and it startled me. So I was like, what the hell was that? I actually thought it was a liquor at first. So I literally I ran down to check it, but it already passed it. So I didn't physically see it, but I saw a glimpse of it on my eye. I thought, what the hell was that? But
In the
I thought it was a liquor.
communications, if you missed there in the communications room, he pokes his head out from behind a pillar. It's Tofu, from Resident Evil 2. Yes,
Okay, yeah.
yeah. There's a few actually inside the police station. What I found it to be okay in the sense that it was like, well, this is kind of cool, like to sort of see it post bomb and all that kind of thing. But all it really was nostalgia. And where I started to lose me again was like, oh, wait, we're doing the fucking Mr. X thing again? Like, really? And then it's like you end up outside and you fight him as a boss where he's a tyrant. And it's like I'd realized that already, but it was like, okay, we really are just trying to do everything. Do you know what I mean? Like everything from a previous Resident Evil game into one.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, being chased by Mr. X was some scary shit because the geezer
Oh
was
yeah,
smashing through walls. But
yeah.
but yeah, the constant repeat of things. Yeah, I do agree.
We were
But
starting to repeat them, yeah.
But I wanted to test how good Capcom was. So I reloaded. I downloaded Resident Evil 2 and reloaded my save, and I went to the police station, and it is literally nailed on. I'm surprised they've got every detail of
I would
the
think
broken.
fucking so.
Yeah,
They've been used, I would,
but then
I'm not going to
you
praise
think
them for
that.
that. I'm
Well,
not going to.
you think maybe they'll miss one little
Nah,
detail, but they're
no.
proper nailed on.
This is their engine. This is the RE engine. They've been using this engine since Resident Evil 7.
Mm.
Everything's already in there. It wouldn't have taken them much work at all. It's just redesigning the base asset, isn't it? To be like
Yeah, so
dusty now and dirty and stuff like that. Do you know what I mean? You know? But I was like, Leon's having flashbacks of Marvin, and I'm like, mate, don't act like you're best mates. Come on, man. Like, is that your whole thing? I know what they're trying to sort of get emphasize was like Leon's kind of like, do you know what I mean? He's been through too much, at this stage. But I'm like, mate, you've not once mentioned. You'd like, oh my God, it's so bad. Resident Evil 2. I'm like, what about Ashley and Resident Evil 4, dude? Like, at least mention her, if we're
So I felt
mentioning people.
for me, it felt more like a Leon's basically come there to say goodbye. He knows that he knows he's dying. He knows that there might not be a cure, and like this is like his sort of like his redemption arc. Obviously we it goes further details into that.
Yeah, I mean, I understand what you mean, but like for me, that only way that works is if we ignore certain things. So, like, for example, Leon going, "Oh, I couldn't save them, but I can save you." I'm like, well, fuck Ashley then, right? I saved Ashley, Leon. If
Yeah.
you when the end credits ended and like off screen you accidentally dropped her down a cliff, that's on you. I saved her, mate.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? I saved Claire. I saved Sherry. What are you on about, bruv? Oh, I couldn't save them. What? Because I couldn't save Marvin Branagh. Is that what we're crying about? He was bit before I got there. It's not my fucking fault, is it?
True. Yeah, it's true. Yeah.
But do you know what I mean? Like, I don't understand why he kept banging on about, like, oh, I couldn't save them. We saved loads. I'm saving
Did you
people
notice
all the time.
when Leon drives into Raccoon City? Did you see Leon's Jeep?
Oh yeah, and you see just before the police station, the first thing you see first is the tanker,
Yeah,
that blew
yeah,
up that forced
yeah.
them
So,
to split up. Yeah, if you look around, I mean, it is cool to look around and take it all in, nostalgia for through and through, which then puzzled me as why suddenly we had to do a child part from the orphanage. Now, this kid, I can't remember her name, Chloe or something like that. Because you think basically what you think you're playing as. What did you think who did you think you were playing as?
no, honestly, at first I had no idea who I was controlling.
Oh,
I,
really?
I,
Because no,
yeah,
because this all happens. I'm surprised. This happens when Grace is with Zeno and he's all like, yeah, enter the password and your mother knew the password and all that kind of crap and stuff like that to release Elpis, that stuff. And then she flashes back. I was like, oh, so Grace was a kid in the orphanage. I thought it was Grace, young Grace.
yeah. No, so I thought maybe that it was like she was in the orphanage, but we're seeing it through someone else's eyes and something like that. And then we saw her getting taken away. It was obviously I figured it out very quickly after.
Yeah, I mean, obviously at the end of the orphanage section, it reveals that it's just a random girl, another one who has been experimented on, clones basically, where they've attempted believing Grace was special. They had attempted to clone Grace time and time again, and never quite got it right. The orphanage is a interesting section, meaning that it's quite creepy, but it's so scripted, so heavily scripted that I struggle to find myself invested in it in the same way. Basically, because I felt like I couldn't really go wrong, and that the game was forcing me to go hide here or do that specifically, there was no real threat, even if the little ball kids are creepy.
Because I died about 5 times in one section because I could not figure out where the hell the hiding spot was. So the bit when you go down the stairs and the door's locked and they're coming down the stairs, I searched everywhere and I couldn't figure out where to hide. Obviously, I eventually found there was a fucking table behind you.
Yeah.
We go and then when the little girl falls down, fucking that little bit there made me jump so fucking much.
Okay, that's been good.
So yeah.
But it's a nice little story filling in part because, of course, this leads us to the arc and the final section, which is, of course, like all good Resident Evil games, takes place inside a laboratory. Laboratory that nobody knew about. God damn, there's another one. There's a fucking another one. Although apparently this is the original one, you know? So, okay, fair enough. But we got Grace section in the arc and a Leon section in the arc. Leon's section starts by fighting a giant... basically plant similar, like it's another throwback because it's referenced in a letter in a document you find about the plant, so obviously it's kind of a rough reference to Plant 42. What
This one's no. This one's Plant 43, man. It's no reference at all. You know, the 42 to 43. It's completely different.
Oh, of
So
course, yeah. Easy enough boss battle.
yeah,
Leon makes puns, and that's the end of that. But I did at least appreciate at this point. I felt like, okay, at least he's getting beat up. At least he seems to be hurt from all of this. Do you know what I mean? Because it can
yeah,
get a little much, of course. So Grace's section in the arc is interesting to a degree. I felt the same similar threat to zombies, but the introduction of lickers initially worried me. I ended up really liking it because it added a new dynamic, except for one problem.
mm,
Unlike the zombies in the care center, I felt like the lickers were on a specific track. E.g., they
mm,
walk this way, they walk back, they go left, and then they walk around like that. And it was a very, very noticeable pattern that
yep,
was designed for you to avoid them in most circumstances. And that made it feel very, very scripted, which wasn't, elsewhere. Elsewhere, it felt like the zombies, which were scripted, but it felt like they were more random. But because the lickers were
mm.
blind and it's about sound, you really could get past them quite easily.
Yeah. And if you have a few empty bottles, you just got to throw one the other way, and then they'll go over that way.
Well, the trick, folks, was this: get one empty bottle and one acid. One
Yep,
empty bottle to draw in a couple of liquors or gather around the same area. Sometimes a zombie will join them too and get himself killed, and then just chuck one vial of acid, and that was it, all dead. Like, it's
yep,
too
exactly.
easy. Very disappointing, actually. But I really liked how the arc looked.
Yes, yeah, yes. I did. I mean, the bright rooms and like the weird statues, like I don't know, like evolution. I don't know what it
Well,
was.
it
But,
felt very, very Umbrella, and it felt very
mm,
Spencer. Because one of the things I would say is obviously this game is heavily built around Spencer, and considering Spencer's mansion and all the other fucking things, like it felt very much like this guy was obsessed with this mad stuff. Oh, that
yeah,
reminds me. There's a great joke at the beginning of the care center when after you put the red gem inside the room with the roulette table and all of that stuff in there. Grace goes, "How do people get in here normally?" I'm like, "Oh, don't pull on that thread.
yeah,
Don't pull on that thread. Spencer, mate, he's obsessed with this shit."
yeah.
Leon's section in the arc was actually the section I enjoyed more of the two. At that point in time, I felt like I just kind of wanted, not that I was desperate to get to the end of the game, but I knew I was at the end of the game. And you're coming up to a big boss battle, and I kind of want to get there. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, I think controlling Leon as the infection has sort of like taken over him, and like the screen is going all purple. I think that was very clever too. The way that it's shown you that he's not superhuman as
Yeah.
obviously he comes across as. Yeah.
It made some sections slightly more threatening. There was one point as I went down a corridor, I think 3 or 4 zombies come at you at once, and it hits then, and so I'm kind of slowly backing up, hoping to try and like fucking it will wear off just in time for me to kind of get into the action with them. So that leads us to the big reveal. Right, right. So we already kind of mentioned Zeno. I don't know what they were thinking there. Did we even really need Zeno? I
No,
kind
not
of, I
really.
kind of, I kind of feel like Grace being a nobody, Victor being a nobody, could have been enough. Do you know what I mean? Like just enough to be like, this is how Umbrella's story ends with
Yeah.
someone whose entire thing is normal and someone whose entire thing is you're just a researcher guy. That's it. But instead, we still have to
That's
have a
it.
sort of weird supervillain character who is a Wesker clone that we've never heard of before. Like, come on, man.
Just quickly, because obviously we've actually missed quite a big scene now when a Leon's bosses fight against Hunk. Well,
Yeah.
what I presume was Hunk.
Well,
So
no, right. Right, no, fuck this. I won't accept this. I'm not buying into this, right? Until
you
it's
don't think so?
confirmed otherwise. No, I just think it's a fucking cheeky nod. That's all it is at most. But because people are desperate, like I've seen people going, "Oh, Leon's 50, Hunk's 50." I'm like, "Where are you getting this from? It's just a commander. That's
Mm,
it." I hated that fight. I hated that fight. I don't want to be doing
yeah.
that fucking fight. It was dumb as well because it was really scripted.
I mean that fight on Insane is going to be difficult unless you can kill him with a rocket launcher, which I hope so. So
Well, or just nope, just make sure you've got the upgraded axe that doesn't break, doesn't get
yeah,
damaged, and
true.
then just all
True.
you're doing is parrying. All you're doing is parrying. There's nothing
Yeah,
hard about
true.
that. Parry
Mm,
attack, parry attack. It's like any fucking. I didn't like it. Sorry, didn't like it. And I don't buy into that. At most, it's a cheeky nod by Capcom.
Yeah.
But like, it doesn't make any fucking sense. Come on, man. Why are people just trying to lump everyone from Resident Evil into it? Do you know what I mean? Where's
Because
Billy? Why is Billy not in the game?
well, where, where's Jill? We haven't seen Jill for like bloody since
That's
Resident
because
Evil 3.
The Resident Evil 10 will be involving all the other characters who weren't in this one. It will certainly
Yeah,
be Chris based at least.
yeah, well, yeah, that's
Well,
obvious.
I mean, some of us have played Resident Evil Revelations and Resident Evil Revelations 2, which will give you other stories related to Jill and Claire and Barry and people like that, Damon. So get up on your Resident Evil games then,
Well,
and then maybe you'll know a
mean,
little bit more about where people are.
I'm getting there. I am getting there.
So yeah, final boss fight. Of course, Victor isn't dead. So we should say, actually, no. Endings. So, there are two endings to Resident Evil, and you can get one and immediately restart and do the other at the same point. So basically, it's based around a decision of if you release Elpis or not. It's a choice, destroy it or release it. So, basically, I'm so stupid here. I thought the canon ending would be what basically the game had been building to, which is sacrifice. Leon sacrificing himself to destroy Elpis, kill the bad guys, and save Grace. I thought that's what they wanted us to do. Unfortunately, that's not, turns out, what they wanted to do, because what I get, spoilers, again, folks, but at this point you should be well aware of that now, what instead I get an ending is Leon gets shot in the face, Grace survives, Xena just sort of stands there and falls, and
Yeah.
then the game ends. And I was like, he's sitting there thinking, that wasn't the ending I'm supposed to get, was it? So, like, get to the end credits, blah, 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 and it's like, oh, do you want to start from your last save? I'm like, well, fucking clearly. I then do a different ending, which is, release Elpis. It's revealed that Elpis is a cure. Spencer had a cure. She realizes this, Grace spends half an hour talking about how it's a cure instead of immediately, did that not drive you nuts? Inject him. He's lying on the floor dying. And she's like, oh my God, Spencer, oh my God, and all that crap. While Victor gets offended that like he's being called nothing by Zeno. So he now transforms into, he's revealed to be a nemesis, which made me go, why?
Yeah, well, yeah, different kind. Yeah, a completely different kind of nemesis.
Yeah, but
So,
what, just infected. He's transforming. Like it
yeah,
happens to a lot, and like people have rightfully said, if that was like compare that to the actual nemesis, he was a weak ass bitch.
Yeah. I mean, let me ask you an obvious question, which I felt. When Leon got killed, were you as devastated as I was?
No.
You were. You were.
No.
I was so glad they offered me a instant restart because
No. I was annoyed that it felt so abrupt. I was like, oh, okay, is that just it then? But what I thought the point of the fucking game was this was what Leon wanted, that there would be no cure and that he was going to sacrifice himself to save another and in turn destroy Umbrella's last viable weapon, last viable fucking station, ending Umbrella's curse.
You're telling me at no point you didn't have any feelings of poor Claire sitting at home with Claire sitting at home with the kids.
What you mean, Ada sitting at home with the kids?
Yeah.
No. I mean, I generally don't understand. I'm not saying I want people to die for no reason, but I like the fact that sometimes a sacrifice, particularly in a franchise this long and over and bloated, let's be honest, can be done. If it's done right, it's important. And here it could have been done right. It could have been done right. I thought as well, there was another option as well, which would be, I still thought, even after choosing the other ending, that sacrifice was still going to be a part of it.
Mm-hmm.
Particularly when, after defeating the boss, they're kind of trapped. And I was like, okay, what we're going to do here is that maybe there's only one cure left. And kind of thing, like, and he's going to find a way to get her out and go and give it to fucking Sherry, right? And Leon stays and dies in the ashes of Raccoon City, coming full circle, where he became who he was, and he dies there. Instead, we get a fucking happy ending.
it would have made more sense because I mean, although Leon's obviously one of the main characters, but we have to be realistic. You know, he's 50 now. I mean, if he's 50, Chris has got to be in his 60s at least. At least, you know, because
Oh
well,
no,
Leon
Chris.
was a
I think
rookie.
in
In Resident
but
Evil 2, Leon was like 18, wasn't he? 18, 19.
yeah, but Chris. I'm sure I remember. Chris was something like early
Mm.
twenties, early twenties, and Resident Evil 1 and 2 take place 2 years between them, 3 years
Oh,
between them.
okay, yeah,
So Chris wouldn't be that much on, and you're absolutely right. But then, like Capcom, right, have fucking fucked us up for themselves.
yeah. Mm.
They don't have to age these characters, right? They don't have to make Leon 50. You
No,
haven't got to do it in real time. Like it's weird, right? Like they don't have to be like, do you know what I mean? Like they don't have to do this.
don't worry. We'll see Barry in a wheelchair next.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. Like I don't right. So like I said, I came away disappointed by both endings. One
Mm.
by being utterly abrupt, and the other by being basically too nice. And it was like, oh man, like so basically, and like what really annoyed me at the end is like, Leon's like, oh yeah, we did it, woo, here's all the authorities, and I'm like, if I'm Leon, I'm gonna be like, I don't trust a single one of you, because
Mhm.
he's just like, yeah, mission accomplished. I'm coming home, baby. Coming home to my baby girl. Tie a yellow ribbon around the old oak tree. Because this boy, he's coming home. All of that shit. And I'm
Yeah.
like, mate, they're just going to go into the hole and be like, sweet, there's the body of the viral monster. Let's take some of its blood and start again. So when there's a fucking epilogue and you see the dodgy BSSA people being like, and I'm like, oh yeah, and they're like, oh, we found the sample, and I'm
Mhm.
like, obviously,
Of course.
obviously,
Here we go again.
exactly. Now, what do you think it is?
Well, I'm going to say it's the T-virus.
No, no, but like the specific sample, because there ain't like it's not a vial sitting
Oh,
there, is it? So I've seen people's predictions online, and I
yeah,
agree
yeah, go
with what
on.
the majority are saying. Zeno's head. Zeno's head. He got knocked
Yeah,
off. Obviously, he
true.
got knocked off by Victor. The way he kind of reaches down to grab something, like as if you know what I mean. It's Zeno's head.
Yeah, yeah, no. That's a good shot. Yeah,
It's what I've seen online, and I can buy into that. But it did make me laugh, and because what I realized come the end of this game that built itself up as being like a significant closing. It built itself up of a kind of chapter closing, combining all these elements of the last decade of Resident Evil games, kind of bringing Leon's story full circle. And then it's kind of like, oh yeah, but it ends like a Resident Evil game, and also here's a hint towards the next one. Made me kind of just go, the fuck, guys? I'm not
well,
saying I don't want it to carry on. Of course, I want it to carry on.
yeah,
But
and that's what I thought too. I thought this game was about ending Leon's story,
yeah,
but
yeah.
then I mean, it hasn't worked because obviously it's left open for loads more.
Well, okay. So I'm gonna debate that bit there.
Mm.
All right. If we're gonna do predictions for what comes next, I am happy enough to believe that quietly and that we will not get Leon on another game. They don't just they just don't have to do it, right?
So
They can
that is
just make
for it.
other Resident Evil games. People seem to have forgotten that removing the remakes, we haven't had Leon in a Resident Evil game since Resident Evil 4, which was what, 2002? Think about it. Outside of remakes, 2002. Resident Evil 6.
Six.
Sorry, Resident Evil
Yeah,
6.
yeah,
You're right.
no, no one talks about Resident Evil 6. That
Yeah, but
doesn't
even
exist.
that, the gap was huge. We all
Yeah.
happily played Resident Evil 7 and Resident Evil Village. Happily played all those games without Leon being in them. Why is there sudden
Hang on.
demand for Leon?
That's
Like
the thing.
Ethan was a brand new character.
As I'm saying, there's Seven and Village. There was no Claire, no Chris. Well, I'll say I know Chris was in it briefly, but but
Chris
very
is obviously
briefly.
a
But
big part of Village, really, though, ain't he? So there is
mm,
that. I mean, don't get me wrong, but but the point is, you've got a wealth of older characters you can draw from. Why, like, potentially? Here's an idea. Here's an idea. So don't drop Grace, Capcom. Don't drop Grace. Have Grace now as an FBI agent investigating other areas, Umbrella and stuff like that. Now that it's become more public again, you have the news reporting on the facility in Raccoon City. The FBI can be more directly involved, right? So have Grace potentially investigating other areas where, because think about it, the bigger side of Umbrella might be dead, but there's always going to be these small offshoots and these small issues and these small sections that need to be investigated. But she's no longer the scared girl that she was because she's grown. Do you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
guess who she can contact for help and advice? Leon. Make him a phone call. The way he speaks to Sherry and stuff like that, he could be that character easily.
Well, obviously they cured that little girl, didn't they? So obviously they cured Emily or whatever they did to her. So
Whoa, when? What? When? That didn't happen.
is that the end?
No, they say they're going to try and cure her. Oh, you're saying when they see it looks like she's alive inside the body of it.
Yeah.
You reckon that? I suppose it is kind of like that, isn't it? I didn't really want to take that as canon. I quite like the idea of Leon shooting transformed girls. It's quite funny.
Yeah, yeah, it was quite funny, but then obviously it could be potentially that they're trying to get her back.
Of course, sorry. Of course they cured her. What am I talking about? You're absolutely right. Fucking Grace. Grace is looking after her in the epilogue.
That could be a potential game with them.
No, it's not. Fuck off. No, I don't. What do you mean? I don't want to. We ain't got involved kids in this. I just told you what a potential game was. Just continue a story with Grace, use Leon and a different factor, and then involve other characters if you want, or don't. Now, realistically, this is the first mainstream Resident Evil game since Village. So, what happened in between Village and this? They dumped a load of remakes. They are not done with remakes. They're simply not. So, what is coming next? While there's no official word on this, I think you're a fool to bet against a remake of Code Veronica. I think you're a fool to bet against that. I also think a possibility of Resident Evil 0 remake is there as well. And I also think the very possibility of a Resident Evil original remake. So basically what I mean by that, folks, is using the Resident Evil engine. So what Capcom has been able to do with the Resident Evil engine is retcon visually and storylines inside 2, 3, and 4. They've been able to tie them up. They've been able to make the characters look uniform. I think they're going to want to do the same with the others. And I think by using the same engine and the same building blocks, you can do all those games and tie them up and keep them in line. But you can also go back and make changes. Small changes that benefit things. Because let's be honest, although Iron Dome doesn't bother me as much as it does some people, I think fans have a right to be angry that Spencer had a change of heart at the end. But according to Resident Evil 5, Spencer went mad at the end.
Yeah.
So which is it? You confuse things, but you know how you get around that? Remake 5.
Yeah.
And I think that's likely as well. I think the Resident Evil future for the next 4 to 5 years, all right, there'll be... Right, first off, Requiem will have DLC.
Of course.
I think there'll be some sections they can include that will involve certain other characters. And one of them, for example... like, you know the way they did the stories in Resident Evil 2 Remake, the side stories? Look at the characters you didn't see. So that's a weird introduction of a helicopter pilot.
Yeah.
I wonder how he got there.
Right? Yeah, exactly, yeah.
You know, and I reckon there'll be a few more like that. Maybe a nurse or a medical person inside the hospital during the outbreak that occurs at a care center. Maybe someone else at some Raccoon City. Maybe even the BSAA agents.
That one there, I think is an obvious one for me. Yeah, definitely.
There's definitely DLC to come, but I think after that we are looking at more remakes. I'm fine with it. I think leaving it a good few years between main entry allows them to refresh ideas and rethink things.
What was the gap? What was the gap between Village and this one?
4 or 5 years, I think.
So it was a while then.
It's been a while.
Do you think? Do you think that obviously they'll because obviously Resident Evil 0 is Code Veronica is a definite. So then, do you think 5 years? 5
years. 5 years between them. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So
I think
do you think they'll remake 6-2, completely change obviously, and then that'll be the last remake? Because I can't see them doing Village and Resident Evil 7
No,
remakes
no,
because
no. I think the goal is. I think the plan is to put everything on, get everything in done under the Resident Evil engine, the RE engine. No, I don't think they'll do six. I think six is so unpopular that they won't. They'll just be like, you know what? Don't worry about it. And
it
basically
don't even count.
six will be quietly removed almost out of the canon to a degree. Like
Mm,
nothing really important happened in it. Do you know what I mean? Or it'd just be
yeah,
never really, it'd be glossed over. I might be wrong about them even doing five. Five, I've always felt was a little debatable about doing because it came out on like the Xbox 360 and the PlayStation 3 and stuff like that. But it just
yeah,
sort of seems like because five has such significant story elements, it feels like it's an obvious one to mess with. Go
yeah,
back and change things in? Maybe. Maybe. Don't take my word for that though, you know what I mean? I
yeah.
think
Of course.
I think next year, I think probably in the next couple of months, probably give it 6 months for them to release DLC and for the Requiem hype to die down and for them to be able to understand their sales. Now I know it's done well. I think I saw an announcement today at the time of recording that it
5
5
million.
million.
Yeah,
But remember, folks, before we say, oh, that's good, remember these companies don't just want some of the money. They want all of the fucking money. And Capcom is
yeah,
no different. So if they don't get all of the monies, this game will still be seen as a failure. So while I'm not going to tell you to support a game or not, I think if you're a Resident Evil fan, this game's a no-brainer. You buy this fucking game. I came away very happy with it, thoroughly enjoying it. And my complaints are mainly a lot of them based around the fact that some sections didn't quite grab me in the same way. It was a little too nostalgia heavy at times, and I wanted them to commit to something more significant in the end. That's my complaint.
saw a debate online, and I want to see which way you would side for. So, if you were to choose the games, is Resident Evil 4 remake or remastering better than this one,
Yes,
or is this the best one?
four's the pinnacle.
Okay,
Four is the
okay, yeah,
pinnacle of
yeah,
everything Resident Evil.
mm,
It was four is the pinnacle. It's four was one of the pinnacles back in the day, and the remake took everything brilliant about Resident Evil 4 and improved upon it. Four is the pinnacle of Resident Evil. Well, four and the original GameCube remake of one.
yeah,
Those
yeah.
two games to me are the pinnacle of Resident Evil games. Yes, four is better than this. I am going to go further. Resident Evil 7 is better than Requiem. Because Resident Evil 7 was a rebirth. It was the rebirth of Resident Evil following the disaster that was 6. All these crappy games like Operation Raccoon City, they went back to the drawing board. Scared us all by going Resident Evil's going first person. And you're like, the fuck you mean Resident Evil's going first person?
Mhm.
That sounds like a disaster and created one of the scariest, exciting, interesting Resident Evil games. 7 is better than. So for me, if you were to say what games are. I mean, 2 is better than Requiem. 2 is better because. But Requiem can't exist without Resident Evil 2 or 3.
Of
So
course,
it doesn't make
exactly.
any sense. But like, we're talking about those significant ones. Yeah, the 4 remake is better. But I think Resident Village, no. But Resident Evil 7, the house, the family, the story
Yeah.
there, that shit is still one of my favorite Resident Evils to date.
I think for me it's quite easy too. For me it is 7-2, and I think it helps the fact that obviously I played 7 and Village and Requiem literally all in it basically in the
All in
last
pretty much
six
order,
seven
yeah.
months. Yeah, exactly. So obviously, but for me, yeah, it's definitely 7 for me. I love 7. It was an amazing
That's a
story, and
question,
obviously,
though. I got to ask a question then. Did you follow Capcom's advice and did you play Requiem like they said to play it? E.g., they said play Grace first person, play Leon third person. Did you do that?
of course.
Yeah,
But then
same.
I started off. But my first play was casual. I didn't do the standard
Ah,
or standard classic. I started in casual because I knew I was going to take my time. So I know I've got to do another 3 or 4 playthroughs to fully complete the game 100%. But I'm okay with that.
yeah, no, I did a standard, not traditional, not with the ink ribbons, the standard normal save ones. I'm doing
Yeah,
standard with the ink ribbons now, to try and pick up all the stuff I missed before I go into a harder difficulty. But yeah, I think that's about it. I think yeah, this was mostly we planned this, folks. We said the best and the worst of February, but we kind of knew we were going to just talk pretty much about Resident Evil Requiem. But there you go. That's our best and worst of February, which mostly lies on Requiem being the best and Tales of the Shire being the worst. You got any thoughts on what we've talked about here? You know what to do. Let us know in the comments. Thank you very much for watching. We really do appreciate it. If you like what you've seen, consider hitting that like and subscribe button. It does make a difference. Of course, you can find us at gbhbl.com and across almost all social media platforms. So do check us out there. If you really, really want to support us, though, consider buying us a coffee over on our coffee page. Thank you very much.